Okay, so I'm Annalise,
I'm Emiko.
and we had how to make an effective virtual online boarding process. So, background is because of coronavirus, onboarding for companies is obviously had an obstacle. Companies have struggled many things, but getting new hires to be like comfortable at a work setting and with each other and understand everything was a struggle. So you need an effective program to bring everyone together under your company.
So, what is onboarding and why is it important? Onboarding is a process of integrating a new employee physically, emotionally, and professionally with a company and its cultures.
What's
So,
the culture of a company? What do you mean? I understand the company, what they do and everything, but what do you mean by culture?
we actually have a slide on company culture
Okay.
coming up. But so the process can vary in length with between a few days to a few months, and it varies. So it's different with every company, but it's the process of getting to know employees, getting to know the company, getting to know the values of the company and what they really like emphasize on and what really makes the company work. So it's very important for new hires to integrate themselves into the company, but it could be especially difficult now that everything is online and remote. Next slide.
So there's no criteria for the steps of onboarding, but typically there's four main steps. And one is compliance. New hires should be informed about the benefits they are entitled to with their new position. Two is clarification. New hires need clarity about the expectations of their role. Onboarding is the time for them to understand and ask questions about the role and establish goals for themselves. Culture. During onboarding, new hires are introduced to the company culture for the first time. Connection. Onboarding is when you connect new hires with the internal and external resources they will need to perform in their new position. And after going through we went through a lot of different articles on virtual onboarding, but these, I guess the four C's, I
Hmm.
think they put everything into like a really good perspective as to it's like a good condensed
Hmm.
um, of like everything that your company should be hitting during
Do
your
you think if you were to rank them as to the easiest thing to do to the hardest thing to do, what would you say? If you
these
were to
four,
rank these four, which is the most important, or which is the easiest to implement and which is the hardest to implement?
I'd say the easiest I would think would be compliance and clarification because asking questions is never hard, but
Okay.
getting people to understand like your company culture and what like how you are going to like put off yourself to everyone else and
Okay.
whatever, and then like connecting with each other, like you're not connecting like in an office anymore, you're connecting over computers and emails. So I'd say the bottom two would be the top
Okay.
list.
So there are many different goals of the onboarding process. It's all very subjective, but we said the top three were ensuring a new employee is prepared to contribute effectively in their new role, increasing the employee's comfort level in the team and the workplace, and to earn commitment to the organization.
What does that mean? Earn commitment to the organization.
I think it means that when an employee is kind of starting out and learning the ropes, they like earn a sense of like commitment and like a sense of belonging in the company and wanting to perform well, wanting to impress their other coworkers, wanting to move up, like having goals for themselves in the workplace and like individual goals.
Okay. Why would a company want to do these things? What's in it for the company?
To have more motivated hires
So what?
and maybe a lower employee turnover rate.
Oh, okay, lower in turnover? What would be the benefit of having a lower turnover?
Well, it would mean that people are staying at the company and less people, like people are staying when they're hired and they're not leaving when they're fired, or they're not like getting fired or not quitting, which means that it's going to be like a solid group of employees that all know each other.
Okay.
People
Does employee turnover have a cost?
Yeah.
What could be some of the cost of a turnover?
The cost of hiring a new person,
Yeah.
and then them like quitting right away and not enjoying the company. It's like going to cost money to have them come in, like a new computer, like just like hiring process costs money. So it's definitely a risk to hire someone and not like have them not like it. And
Okay. Do you think a new hire is productive right out of the gate?
Yeah,
I'd say it depends. Like right out of
As soon as you hire somebody, they start the work next day. Do you expect them to be as efficient as somebody who's been doing the job for a year?
I'd say no,
Okay.
because I think that before you can like be effective, you have to be like integrated into all of the company's like whole
Okay.
systematic of working.
Do you think there's an onboarding process for college?
yeah, like college orientations, and even kind of like where you live freshman year. I feel like your whole freshman year is kind of like an onboarding process, getting into like college. Like sometimes you have an advisor, you have to meet with your advisor the whole year, even like at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's in it for the employee by being properly onboarded?
Well, if all the new hire,
Mm-hmm. What's in it for the? I got now why it's good for the company. Why is it good for the individual worker that's hired?
well, they will benefit from just a lot of, like, I feel like the same benefits the
I think it'd be like making connections in your company obviously like makes the job more fun and you want to do that. So
Might they be more satisfied?
yeah, and it might just make you more comfortable and maybe feel like kind of more respected and like seen in the company. You're not like overlooked if like people are really like caring about how you're like getting used to everything.
So if you're satisfied with a company, what won't you do?
You won't turn your back on them.
Well, keep going.
You won't quit.
No, you won't quit. Right. And Emiko, what happens if you as an individual quit? We know what happens, that it costs the company money. What is it for the worker?
Oh, you're unemployed.
Right.
Go find a new job and
Right. See, there are two sides to this coin.
yeah.
Okay, good.
Why is onboarding important? Allows new hires to get acquainted with the company before they do any work, teaches new hires about their roles in the company, can reduce new employee anxiety, resulting in employees to perform better right off the bat, reduces employee turnover because they start the job engaging with company cultures.
So what is company culture? It refers to the company, the personality of a company, including a variety of elements like work environment, company mission, value, ethics, expectations, and goals. Workers are more likely to enjoy their time in the workplace when they fit in with the company culture. And a culture buddy is what some companies assign to a new hire to help them acclimate. Absorbing company culture is one of the most difficult but important parts of onboarding.
Maybe you're going to get to this, but how did you do this with COVID-19 and people not being together?
In the article, someone said that they were assigned this culture buddy to help them acclimate virtually online.
Okay.
And it was someone that they could just go to and ask any question about any like company culture question, like that anyone may have. Like literally just saying like anything that's on their mind was really helpful for them to acclimate virtually.
Okay.
How can a company create an effective virtual onboarding process? Be certain to emphasize and answer any questions regarding company culture and assign a selected team member to serve as a guide for the new hires. Okay, the culture buddy. Onboarding cannot be done in one video call. It needs to be conducted over multiple informative sessions and introduces managers and other business leaders. Creating
So
a
this
structure
actually could make it easier, couldn't it, for introducing
online.
people? Because, you know, instead of having to try to fit on somebody's schedule, you could do a quick 5-minute Zoom call with somebody.
Yeah, with like everyone in your company, all the
Yeah, or, you know, it's much easier to set up something real quick than, you know, have people walking around. And it's easy to end a meeting if you have a 5-minute meeting, say, okay, we got 5 minutes, let's do it, as opposed to in person when people may linger.
Yeah.
Maybe good or bad, you don't know.
And creating a structured calendar with separate links to each session helps stress punctuality in a virtual setting.
Some more, setting up a program with check-ins and meetings so that new hires do not feel overlooked. Be sure to ship necessary technology to new hires well before their first day.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Schedule training sessions, one-on-one meetings, or even an onboarding buddy. And have your HR team ready to answer any technological questions or obstacles that may arise.
Do either of you guys think you could work online?
Yeah.
Good, yeah.
How did the transition go from in-person learning to online learning the past semester?
I mean, I survived. I didn't.
Yeah, I survived.
Okay, that's fair.
I definitely, I mean, I just like personal interactions. So I don't know. I like seeing everyone in the office rather than seeing them on a Zoom screen when I'm older.
Okay.
Working.
Emiko, how did you do?
Well, I lived off campus, so I stayed until like the end of May.
Oh, okay.
Living off campus. So it was like really fun with my friends, but it definitely didn't feel like school. So like I'm kind of biased to it. I loved being remote because I could just hang out and do work in like my bed, and like I was with my friends all the time. But now that I'm home and I'm taking classes online, it definitely feels like if this continues forever, it's going to be sad.
I think one thing I heard is we know we're not going to have a vaccine before the end of the year. We know the COVID-19 virus isn't going away, but we still got to figure out how we do some of these things to reduce the risk. Because we will go on, and it's just how we do it, I think, in my opinion.
I agree.
I agree too.
How can a company create an effective virtual onboarding process? Again, emphasizing your company's cultures and values is something that employees find trustworthy and professional, according to LinkedIn. Encourage communication among all levels of the company. So I think this was taken from a LinkedIn article. It's their values of the onboarding. So put members first, relationships matter, be open, honest, and constructive, inspire excellence, take intelligent risks, and act like an owner.
Okay. Act like an owner, what does that mean?
I would say act like you know what you're doing the whole time and no one's really here to throw you off of your game. You own it.
Would you make a decision to spend money differently if you owned the company yourself as opposed to just being a worker?
Yeah, I feel like if you were the owner, you would have a lot more options to spend with your money. But if you're an employee, I feel like you might not have as much of a say as to what you should put your money.
But that's the say, yes, but how you spend money. If you were spending your parents' money, they gave you a credit card and said spend whatever you want, versus one that you get for working for your dad.
Oh, okay.
How would you spend the money? Any different?
Yeah, I think Well, whenever I get money from like someone else, not that it was my work, I feel like I'm kind of more inclined to blow it off on something like
Yeah.
a night out or
Sure.
but like
If
when
it's
I
your money, you may behave a little differently.
for a while and I think it looks really pretty in there.
That's what they mean by act like an owner. Think about it. Not that you won't spend it, but if you owned a business, you know, like
Gotcha.
what time do you usually finish work?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock.
Mhm.
What if you could say, okay, we're going to end it. It's Friday, so we're going to end it at noon today, and we're going to go drink beer. Okay. Now, is that thinking like an owner?
No.
From an expense perspective, probably no. But what would it do to morale and how people feel?
Well, then they would think that they could cut out of work all the time and do that. It wouldn't be
Could
given
be.
awards.
Sure. Could be. Do you think they'd work to get all the, if you said, okay, we're going to pay you for the full day. This is what we normally do in a day. And if you get it done at noon, you can leave at noon. Do you think they would still get the work done?
Yes.
Okay. So they'd feel they're getting something.
Yeah.
Okay. You're getting it. Yep. Go ahead.
So at the end of our article, there were a few different tips that people who have onboarded online have given out. So these are how can a new hire create a more successful virtual onboarding process. So the tips were to reach out in advance, try to email or video chat with your new coworkers or team members. Technology, try out your new company softwares before day one on the job. Communication, don't be afraid to ask how you're doing or if you're expected of more. Dress code, you can still dress up at home, especially on your first day.
Do you dress up for Zoom calls and classes?
No. Definitely do not.
Why not?
Maybe like later during the day, 8:30 was
kind of early. Okay.
Having coffee or lunch on video with your coworkers is highly recommended. And perspective, stay positive and learn from your mistakes. Virtually working is better than not working at all.
Very true. Very true.
Challenges of virtual onboarding. Not everyone is reporting to work from the same time zone, so you may have to vary your hours based on international business hours.
Could also be some people are morning people and some people are night people.
Yeah. Virtual onboarding is new to the business world, so anything that arises is something to learn and further improve company standards. Acquiring and setting up company equipment remotely at home can be difficult. Some companies create a series of videos presenting step-by-step instructions on how to set electronics up. The personal interaction with coworkers is taken away, and getting to know one another is more of an obstacle than something enjoyable.
So our last slide looks at this topic from the OB perspective. He said in efforts to keep businesses as usual and companies are willing to go the extra mile while virtually onboarding members, and having all your employees on the same page results in more productive and effective work. But I was also thinking about what we just did in our last reflection, and it could definitely be tough because you can't tell people's personalities as much through the screen. And I was thinking about like how sitting in an office and like seeing people and like their daily actions, their like the way they go about lives, like how they set up their desk can definitely tell what kind of person they are if they're like type A or type B, and you can't really see that through the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So like, some things may like offend other people or like bother people that you can't like tell, and it'll be harder to like
good point.
like acclimate with your coworkers, because
That's what you want to do, is tie all this stuff together.
right. That's what I took away from
Good.
that.
What did you guys learn from doing this? Either about yourself, about organizational behavior, or whatever. What'd you learn?
Well, I didn't even know onboarding was a thing, but once I did a little research, it seemed like how could I not know? Like, this is so like basic, and it's something that we do without even like thinking about it. Like like trying to make yourself fit in, basically. That's what this is, just like fitting in and making sure you are a good fit.
Okay.
And yeah.
I want to be onboarded to a company. I think after going through everything, it seems really nice.
Do you think if you do a good job in onboarding, it's going to improve employee retention and lead to more satisfied employees?
I think, yeah, because it's like the first few, well, it could be weeks or months of your job, but that if you go in with like all positivity and you're laying everything out just how it's supposed to be, then they're going to have like the routine down and be happy with it and comfortable with it. So I can't see how many problems could arise.
Let's look at it from a presentation perspective. Do you realize we've spent 30 minutes talking and reviewing your presentation?
No, actually.
Did it seem like 30 minutes?
No, not at all.
Why? Didn't it seem long?
I don't know.
You were engaged. We were thinking. Okay. Right?
Yeah, you had good questions.
But I was just
Having fun.
we're learning.
Yeah.
We walk away with things, and that's what learning is all about. Good job.